In 1910, Theodore Roosevelt said, "I would never have been the President of the United States had it not been for the time I spent in North Dakota." He came to Dakota Territory in 1883 to kill a buffalo. He fell in love with the place. When he returned in 1884, he wanted a remote ranch far from the railroads, far from the village of Medora. He traveled 35 miles north and found it here. He called it the Elkhorn Ranch. No cabin exists here now, so we have to imagine what it must have looked like then out here amongst the cottonwoods just a few yards from the bank of the Little Missouri River. There have been initiatives from time to time to rebuild it here, but the National Park Service has wisely chosen to maintain the site as a pristine and primitive shrine to the strenuous character of Theodore Roosevelt and his achievement as America's greatest conservation president. With help from the state legislature of North Dakota and generous donors, our plan is to build the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library in Dickinson, North Dakota. We're going to start by recreating as authentically as possible the Elkhorn Ranch House. It was 60 feet by 30 feet, made of cottonwood logs, all the work done on site between November of 1884 and March of 1885, some of it by Theodore Roosevelt himself. In his autobiography, Roosevelt remembered what Wilmot Dow said about TR's cutting down some of the logs for the cabin. "Bill cut down 53, I cut 49, and the boss, well, he beavered down 17. So the first challenge is finding cottonwood logs. There are none on the site in Dickinson. When we learned that the correctional facility south of Bismarck needed to get rid of a lot of its cottonwood logs, we made contact with them, and a man named Loren Haight agreed to show us the trees, and then offered to let us take as many as we wanted from here to the campus in Dickinson. We want to rebuild the Elkhorn cabin authentically using cottonwood timber from North Dakota and to get it absolutely right. And so if we can get this timber from the Missouri Basin, that's perfect for what we're trying to do.
What we're doing down here with the tree project is we have a dike being put in for flood control. So there was a lot of trees in this area that we have to cut down. And with that, we are going to harvest some large cottonwood trees that are going to be used for the Theodore Roosevelt replica cabin that's being built. And then we're also harvesting some ash trees that will be used by Fort Lincoln to reconstruct the earth mounds over at Fort Lincoln.
We'll be supplementing these trees with cottonwood logs from heritage ranches up and down the Little Missouri River Valley. It has to be authentic. It has to look like this. They did this by hand 35 miles north of the railroad without any steam engines between November of 1884 and March of 1885. So during the winter months, it was a cold winter. Now these were professional woodsmen from Maine, Wilmot Dow and Bill Sewell. They knew what they were doing. This was something they had been doing all their lives, although not with cottonwood. Cottonwood's not a great building material, but that's what they had out there. This is a challenging and very exciting project. Our goal is nothing short than to create an absolutely authentic recreation of the Elkhorn cabin. And when you go in it, you're going to feel that Theodore Roosevelt just stepped out to saddle his horse and may return at any moment. Watch for further video updates, but meanwhile, for more information, visit our website, trpresidentiallibrary.org.